You hot mic.
Look, I'm not saying it's
It is a hot mic now.
Hey yo, that man Nico House, bro.
Man, the horse they rode it on.
Fuck Ryan Graham.
Hey everyone, welcome to Slow News Day Live. I'm Steve Poikinen. I'm in the Santa Cruz Mountains for like a couple more days. I am joined by my better than your co-host, Glory Jones. What's up, Jones? How you doing?
It's up.
The fucking screen name is just goddamn hilarious. If you can't tell, if you're not full screen, if you're driving, if you're listening on audio, for today's show, Glory Jones is selected as her screen name the Delta C3PO derivative of invariant. And
Derivative of natural log variant.
natural log variant. Okay, I can't see that. See? I don't fucking know. The fucking we don't.
That's LN. That's how you write natural logs.
Okay, I obviously not currently a college student. The natural logs that I deal with are actual logs from.
I know.
Yeah. It's a whole different fucking scenario. We have a ton to talk about today. There's all kinds of crazy shit going on. If you watched any of the shows on MCSC Network in the last several days, you've obviously been keeping up on what was going on with the Capitol photo op and Franco's excellent coverage for the last several days, and all
Lasso.
so mad at Franco right now for asking some questions and perhaps not trying to kiss, wash, and then hump the feet of our elected officials. Even TYT went after Franco. Like, and they don't mention his name or any of that shit, but holy crap, dude!
Our network has some good history with TYT, don't we?
Yeah, we certainly do. So I don't want to rehash a lot of that. There's some stuff related to it that we're going to get into a little bit later in the show over on the Rockfin. By the way, this is how we do the shit now. Coming back from that week suspension, we're going to do as much of the show as we can here. Once we can no longer, we're going to head over to Rockfin. The live link for that show is in the description of the YouTube video right now, as is our GoFundMe and the other ways that you could support the show. We are entirely viewer supported. The GoFundMe right now is the primary way by which we're, I don't know, eating. So if you can do throw a couple of bucks at it. If you can't, please do share the link. That really does help. Let's see. Am I forgetting any other bullshit? We're gonna have something really cool happen tomorrow morning, or tomorrow at noon on the East Coast. Something that has been several months in the planning, making, suggesting, whatever. We finally figured out a time for it. Way back. Man, maybe December of last year.
Well, I think it was like March or something when we had her on the second time, I think.
But at any rate, Corey Morningstar, friend of the show, wonderful journalist, and one of my favorite fucking people, really. She was like, "Hey, next time I'm on, can we bring on Vanessa Beeley?"
And first of all, to understand the context of that, the moment she said, like, next time I'm on, we're over there, like, you.
When Corey Morningstar shows up and says, "I missed you," like your heart grows 3 sizes, like the Grinches did, and like have a much lovelier understanding of the world. So we're gonna have Beely on with us and Corey, and that's gonna be just fucking cool, man. It really is. I'm stoked that we get a chance to do that. And then after that, it looks like gonna take after Get Your Shit Together on Friday. Gonna take about a week off. I'm gonna move. I've got to also at the same time get my kids and my ex moved, so it's gonna be busy, and I'm gonna be in multiple different parts of California, not all of which have reception. So probably gonna take that whole week off. I will do like some updates and shit, and hopefully like some check-ins every now and then. But the regular streaming schedule, no, not gonna be able to happen. Is that it? We should have T-shirts soon.
Oh,
Soonish. Yeah, the same company that does Ryan Christian's merch stuff. Name is fucking escaping me right now, which sucks. Her name's Katie. His name's Nathan Stoppelman. Mind Unleashed is a channel here on the Rockfin that I think is even streaming right now. We're gonna have to find a different time to do Wednesdays, man. It's like us, T-Lab, Burmis, Nathan, everybody's live right now. It's got to be conflicting. I apologize, guys. Do you want to open with the Echo Park thing? It's probably the most PG story, YouTube-friendly story we have. The Los Angeles Police Department after-action report on their siege of the Echo Park homeless encampment.
Yeah, it sucks, but yeah, I mean, I guess with like Echo Park, it's something that because LAPD arrested an LA Times journalist, that kind of forced the mainstream media to have to comment on it. So yeah, it might be a good place to start. So basically, let me get the share screen up. LAPD, and this is coming off right off the heels as well as LAPD, not LAPD, as a LA City Council, basically criminalizing homelessness. That's why you saw the video of cops trying to force people out of their tents on Venice Beach at gunpoint. So yeah, I have the Echo Park Rehabilitation After Action Report by the Los Angeles Police Department. Now, it's 101 pages. I'm not going to go through it all because it's a lot. There's a lot to break down. There's a lot to debunk. There's so much. There's just so much lies in here, really, and all of them can easily be debunked by activists on the ground. I'll run through a quick summary of it right here. They spent more than $2 million over the course of 4 to 5 days, basically. Apparently, LAPD said that it was initially hesitant to get involved in the operation because, of activists and the fact that the Echo Park encampment had a lot of community support. But again, we got the reminder that it was spearheaded by council member Bitch O'Farrell or Mitch O'Farrell. So yeah, they were acting on behalf of the local council and not the community, of course. And then they also said that they need a better system for tracking the use of projectiles in crowds because yeah, that's just gaslighting right there. And then there's also LAPD's weird obsession with strobe lights and their apparent need to try and basically get rid of those. Well, but the thing is like they want to make a measure to get rid of those, but that would also involve monitoring the use of phones too, because you can get like strobe light apps on your phones, or you can go and hit your flashlight on your flashlight app on your phone like 20,000 times if you want to. So it's weird because a lot of their justification of their use of force is due to the strobe lights, which very much resembles Alicante Bitch Nueva's fixation on they came at us like football players. So like whereas the sheriff took a fixation on protective gear because we were getting the shit beaten out of us. And I didn't wear any protective gear, by the way, when I was protesting at the sheriff. So that whole thing was absolutely bullshit. And then also, so similar to how there was a fixation on that to justify brutality by the sheriffs, LAPD chooses to focus on strobe lights because it disorients them, despite the fact that they shine flashlights in our faces all the time. And they have a whole ass spotlight. Like they really do. They have a whole ass spotlight that they shine on people purposely to point out the activists that they're going to target during that thing. So yeah, that's kind of a short summary of the protest stuff. The one that I want to identify is the one that would concern not necessarily us the most, but concern us as journalists the most, was when they went over the arrest of journalists and legal representatives. So let me get that up. I have too many tabs open. There we go. Okay. Journalists and legal representatives. After LA hosted the DNC in 2000, the lawsuit Crespo versus LA led the department to reevaluate how it handles media during crowd control situations. One of the changes implemented was the requirement for the department to identify a specific area for media to cover the event. This designated media zone is oftenly referred to as the Crespo area. Consistent with department policy, the event action plan for the Echo Park closure included a Crespo area. This area was chosen for its unobstructed view of the northwest corner of Echo Park, where the population of unhoused persons was the densest. That's a lie. That's a lie. Despite having identified a Crespo area during the mass arrest situation that took place at the start of the third operational period, 6 persons, it was actually 9, who identified themselves as members of the media were detained when the department surrounded a large group of protesters that had failed to disperse after an unlawful assembly was declared.
No good protesters.
Yeah. Ultimately, 3 internet bloggers and video streamers were arrested and transported to MDC, where they were cited for 409 PC and released from custody. So to go over that part real quick, they mentioned the identification of a Crespo area, which is completely bullshit because with Crespo areas, you're supposed to be able to have, at the very least, an unobstructed view of what's happening. Like if you actually go to a protest, like they always put you in areas where you can't make sure what's happening, where it's deliberately harder to record what's going on and record the full scale of like police response to an event. So that's a lie. And then on top of that, they almost never tell you where the Crespo area is on purpose, unless if it's an excuse to like arrest you. So like they purposely won't tell you where it is as a pretext to arrest you for being a journalist, as you can see with the report. And then also like if you're that's also a pretext to use force, because then they can grab you and shove you or push you into the Crespo area, which is what I have experienced personally, is they will like shove me back to keep me away from them. Like, no, I'm trying to film. So that's that. And then let's see. There we go. They specifically cite the LA Times journalist that was arrested. One of the journalists, James Quealy, who writes for LA Times, admitted to hearing the dispersal order and knowing where the Crespo area was. But in his words, if I'm covering a protest, it's a fluid situation. I can't stay in a pen. Quealy also admitted that he did not identify himself until he was detained. It was at that point during the process of detaining the large group that Quealy expected to be immediately released. The process of conducting mass arrests and arrest teams formations does not allow officers the latitude to choose and pick who is handcuffed and who is not. Really. The arrest of a large group involves a large number of people utilizing processes and systems identified ahead of time. Hey, during the Echo Park operation, the system that was utilized was ultimately successful. You gotta be fucking kidding me. As evidenced by the fact that 3 legitimate media representatives were identified and released without being booked. Legitimate. Keep that vocabulary in mind. And then here, I'm going to go over to a thread by who else but James Quealy himself. So I guess I'm supposed to respond to this LAPD's after-action report on Echo Park, and my arrest isn't inaccurate per se, but it's certainly colored to paint LAPD's actions in a favorable light. Also, no one contacted us for our side. There's a lot of admitted in here, which implies admission of wrong, which just no. Yes, I heard the dispersal order. I'd covered several protests in the past where LAPD would issue one, then allow credentialed press to walk away if kettled. I, quote unquote, didn't identify myself as press until cops approached me because that seemed like the safest options for both sides. They then cut off the route of the egress on Lemoyne. Officers ran up and knocked at least one person to the ground, which is, where the Crespo area would be on Park in Lemoyne. I ID'd myself as press as soon as the officers had my arms. Also, my credential was visible. Maybe this cops kid training kicking in, but I figured it was smarter to just let it play out and deal with the other side of the skirmish line, which is where things went wrong. The issue, which the report does not address, was that the supervisor was shown my credentials and told me I'd still be processed. Then others with stripes I didn't recognize started babbling about the useless media pen and asking if I heard the second media dispersal order. I didn't. You're always supposed to be able to hear the dispersal order. We've been over all this before. My position remains that I should have been cut loose as soon as my credential was spotted, that it shouldn't have taken shot on 35mm, tweeting a video and causing a fiasco to cause that. Lastly, this is not LAPD's first attempt to sanitize their handling of this. True. In March, I got hold of an email LAPD Harry Ito, city council liaison, sent to a bunch of city hall staffers describing me as remorseful and contrite upon arrest, which, have you met me? I was nice to the line officers. I had one laughing. Wasn't their fault, and I'm 100% punchlines as defense mechanism guy, but that doesn't change what shouldn't have been happened to that night. I told one guy I wasn't going to argue with him. If that's contrite, sure. This is why SB 98 is important to give journalists more access to cover unrest and limit police departments' abilities to arrest reporters for doing their jobs. And it might be wise for city council staff to start eyeing notes from Ito with a bit more scrutiny. Now, SB 89, that's the bill that isn't going through under orders of Gavin McFuckass, which gives reporters basically the ability to cover protests after a dispersal order was issued because, news gathering activities are protected by the First Amendment. So,
there were a couple of other things in that after action report that I wanted to draw attention to. I'm trying to remember where it was. Oh, it was the videography and photography thing. Where did that go? Motherfucker. Come on. Come on. There we go. I think. Record keeping. No, photographers and videographers. There we are. Excellent. Let me grab that and bring it up.
Did you find the one that had said the rise of independent journalists? Because that's the big thing that I want to highlight.
Well, this is I'm not sure if it's on this particular section or not, but
Oh yeah, this is like photographers and videographers for the cops.
For the cops. And this is definitely something I wanted to highlight in this report, because it's just more extended surveillance, and it's more things for you guys to be aware of when you go to a protest after the civil unrest in 2020. The department held a citywide training for videographers. However, despite the training, the Echo Park operation was unable to deploy effective videographers to record vital information. Like, people they could potentially arrest after the fact for whatever the fuck they want to. Of the 4 videographers utilized, only 1 captured quality, useful footage. This occurred, again, footage by which they can use to further punish homeless people and people who were out there to support homeless people. This occurred in part because officers from other assignments were inserted into these positions and sent into the field without proper training or direction. As a result, very limited details were captured. Most of the details captured were missing vital narration and timestamps. Photographers were not assigned to the incident at all.
You just had freaking 5 helicopters going over the area the entire time that have freaking like infrared scans of us, like.
And they're really emphasizing the training that they want them to go through. So it's probably worthwhile to go and figure out like what that training is. In order to maximize the number of personnel who have this knowledge, training bureaus should consider this for regular routine department schools. Departments should develop a guide for videographers to ensure all pertinent information is captured in photographs and videos. Guide can be reviewed prior to deployment. Each geographic bureau should identify personnel as videographers and ensure they receive proper training prior to deployment. This is really starting to sound like they're 100% going to be undercover, right? I mean, that's what I'm getting out of it. Field jails. Okay.
Oh, that's the part that I wanted to go over. So, dealing with the influx of self-identified media has become increasingly difficult during protest incidents. During the Echo Park operation, officers in skirmish lines were constantly met by individuals claiming to be members of the media trying to get through the line of officers. We're not claiming, we're credentialed. Okay. Many of these individuals were identified by a simple patch or hats with the label media. Not true. The people who were calling themselves members of the press had either press credentials, or they had like what me and Johnny had, which is the Convo Couch press credential, which is a registered LLC. So, yeah. Based on the antagonistic demeanor displayed by some of the non-traditional reporters, officers had difficulty distinguishing between legitimate media and social media influencers. I mean, you don't expect this to be antagonistic. I'll keep that thought for later.
Right.
Additionally, officers encountered several legitimate members of the media who expressed outrage at being detained in the large group that was surrounded on Park Avenue and Lemoyne Street. As stated previously, the media is not exempt from an order to disperse from an unlawful assembly. In the aftermath of the operation, news outlets were critical of the department because you guys are fascistic cunts, specifically officers and frontline supervisors, for not immediately releasing members of the media who only identified themselves after the group was detained. Again,
are you fucking kidding me?
Most of the time we identify ourselves. The process of like, we literally have these press passes dangling off our necks, guys.
That shit's on video every single time. we're press.
Yes.
It's I swear to, I've never heard anyone not identify themselves as press or as a journalist or as a citizen journalist loudly and clearly and repetitively at any of these fucking protests.
Yes.
And yes, traditionally, the press identifies themselves by fucking putting press on the back of their shit.
Yeah, and we have to so we don't get shot at.
As often.
That's the reason why like Fee has the white helmet that says press on it, or why like Vishal walks around with the vest that says press on it, or why I have like the press pass with the green clover attached to it with that has my combo couch press pass on it, because we have to be clear about it. And like you can whine about our antagonistic our antagonistic attitudes all you want. At the end of the day, we're still press, first of all, and second of all, we're not impeding you from doing your job. Okay, because what press do while we're there is we walk along the skirmish lines, we video the officers, we take their badge numbers, we try to get their names if we can, and we'll ask them questions like, "Hey officer, what are you doing here? Like, what's going on here, officer?" Yeah, this is a great one. The department needs to provide formal guidance to address the rise of independent journalists, reporters, and observers in today's culture. I fucking love that line. I love that line. Yeah.
Observers. That's some person of interest shit right there, y'all.
That. But they see us, they'll inject that shit into my veins. Yes. In LA, many activists double as online reporters for alternative news sources. Oh, hey.
Yes!
Hi.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, LAPD. Hey, Michael Moore. How was your last trip to Israel? These individuals expect to be given free access during crowd control situations while antagonizing officers and impeding police action. Again, we're not impeding your actions. If we wanted to impede your actions, we would show up with shields and fireworks and strobe lights, because that's what triggers you guys.
Well, and also that's what they do.
Yeah. But like we're not showing up with any of that. What we show up with is protective gear, and then we walk in front of you with our cameras and we say, okay, badge number officer so-and-so, badge number so-and-so, and then we'll ask them questions. Like the day after every journalist was arrested, I walked around Echo Park and I asked cop questions, where I was basically like, hey, do you have any comments on this? And all of them were like, no, you have to speak to media relations. I'm like, journalists were arrested, dude. You need media relations to comment on that? No, sorry. But like, yeah. But like, I wasn't obstructing any of them. Never do we actually obstruct them. We hold them accountable. So that way, when shit hits the fan, like it always does with LAPD, we can take some sort of steps to ensure consequence of them, or we can share it, or so that people know what's going on and who's doing what, because that's the job of the media, to hold the state accountable. We're not here to be the cops' friends. Hate to break it to you, LAPD. We're not here to be your friends. We're here to hold you accountable, because you guys, LAPD, act like fascistic goons out there. So it's one of press's jobs to hold you accountable, and not once are we obstructing what you're doing.
You're on the wrong part of the sidewalk.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, I might stand in front of a protester so they don't get the shit beat out of them, but like, that's human.
Right.
So, and it's like, we're not coming there like throwing fireworks at them and then putting up a camera like, oh no, I'm press. Like, that's what they make it seem like. No, it's nothing like that. It's everything. It's just so But like I said, the rise of
it's them trying to put a good face on the fact that they went in as an armed force to beat the fuck out of and chase away the unhoused from a public park.
Yeah.
Because the rich ass fucking neighborhood that surrounds it was like, yeah, no, homeless people are gross. Get them out of here. Thomas Busey and Buse, I don't know how to pronounce it. In the chat though, asked if you were gonna go sit in on like a council meeting or some shit to give public comment on that, if there is anything for it. LA Council or Police Commission meeting.
I think there was one actually yesterday. There's a thread on the one from yesterday that I haven't been able to go through yet, but LA police commissions typically meet on a Tuesday. The problem with speaking at any of these commissions or any of these like supervisor meetings is they always limit you to a minute, and they always find convenient ways to gaslight you out of your speech. But yeah, no, I'm normally like looking through threads of those because that's how I was able to find out that they authorized the use of facial recognition technology. And yeah, so this is just the latest thing. I mean, it's not surprising, but you know, what it really did strike me how the rise of independent media is something that more and more cops feel the need to address. I mean, we see it in France. We saw it in Ohio. We have the bill in the state legislature in Florida. So now LAPD is trying to find their way to address it. Now, because it's a blue state, I don't think an actual bill will be put forth, but that bill that protects journalists, that allows news gathering activities to be maintained, it'll never be signed into law by Gavin McFuck-ass. I'll say that much about that.
Well, and speaking of Gavin McFuck-ass, there not so much rumors as guarantees that more lockdowns are coming. And we have a recall election here in California coming up. That, look, I mean, we know how corrupt the political machine is here. We know that the most corrupt are rewarded with, you know, the best gigs. Alex Padilla being one of the best examples of that after successfully helping rig multiple elections as Secretary of State of California. He got Camillery's Senate seat. So Gavin Newsom, facing recall, definitely does not want to go that route. He was headed towards the White House. If he gets recalled as California governor, that's going to be significantly harder for him to go ahead and like overcome. So what is California doing to make sure that our buddy Gav, Nancy Pelosi's nephew, married into Jerry Brown's family, a guy who, let's be honest, I mean, just the example of pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps. California approves mailed ballots for 2021 as recall looms. Let me make sure that you pause. Stop that.
Oh, that's lovely looking weather. Why can't Florida have that?
Come on.
Good morning and welcome to your Wednesday. It's August 4th.
Oh, bro, I'm so jealous.
Very warm temperatures this afternoon.
That's not here, Jones.
Slowly, gradually getting there. So the morning will start out in the
Wherever it is, I'm jealous.
Lots of sunshine this afternoon. By noon, 81 degrees, and then the high temperature right around average for this time of year, 94 degrees. The Delta going to get a bit gusty today, 31 mile per hour gusts at times, 86 the expected high there.
60.
Yeah, man.
Getting up to 96
Wow.
and in the Sierra, 86 degrees. We are watching the winds today into tomorrow. We could see some pretty strong gusts up in areas.
Oh, come on.
No.
Where's the goddamn...
Lewis County area
No
where
scattered
the fire is burning,
thunderstorms.
and
Oh
for
my
that 79
God.
degrees for your
Come
Thursday,
on.
that is going to feel great.
No humidity. Wow.
Though for the next several days will be in the 50s.
Aren't you talking? No, it is just fucking. God damn it! I thought this was the actual story about it. That's a.
Oh.
The hell are you doing? Why? Why? As California Governor Gavin Newsom prepares for a potential recall election this year, the state legislature passed a bill on Tuesday that require all active registered voters get a ballot in the mail ahead of the election, even if they didn't ask for one. Lawmakers' aim is to slow the spread of coronavirus by encouraging people to vote by mail rather than show up in person. The same thing was done last year when counties had millions of dollars in federal money to help put on a presidential election during a pandemic. Do you remember that, Jones, when the mail-in ballots were the most successful effort to roll out of any state or federal government in the history of ensuring the freest and fairest election in the history of ever always, or you're literally QAnon? So far, California has 2 scheduled elections for 2021, both to fill vacancies in the state legislature, but an effort to force a recall election of Newsom has gained momentum, fueled by anger over his handling of the coronavirus and an embarrassing incident last year when the governor attended a birthday party at a fancy restaurant while encouraging others to stay home. That's kind of painting it gently.
It makes my head hurt, the thought of it. Thought of statewide mail-in ballots in the state of California that has not gotten its shit together in terms of their elections. Like,
Yeah.
you know, in Broward County, it's like, you know, it's like smoother, but it's rigged as hell. Like California is rigged as hell, and it's not smooth at all. It's a mess, especially in Los Angeles County, because of course, I mean, it's like, please tell me that more people than us see what's happening here, because like the fact that people who don't even ask for a mail-in ballot are going to be sent one, that's like chain of custody nightmare. That's like a ballot tracking chaos. Like that's a nightmare for tabulation efforts. That's like it's gonna cause planned and orchestrated chaos.
Yes.
To do that.
100%. And in the article, they go on to bitch about how the recall is going to cost them like $7.5 million or some shit. How much did Gavin Newsom cost small business owners? How much did Gavin Newsom cost homeowners? How much did Gavin Newsom fucking wreck the California economy? Fuck with the supply chain. Oh, you got to pay for an election to get out the fucking corrupt, murderous, fucking industry killing son of a bitch? Darn. This is fucking ridiculous. Yeah, bringing mail-in ballots to it screams we're going to rig the fuck out of this. And the onus is on the state to prove otherwise. It's their responsibility to show us that they're running a free and fair election. They have never met that burden. They are never going to meet that burden. Not as long as we've got fucking sociopaths running the goddamn country. It's not going to happen. Voting, least effective, laziest direct action you could possibly undertake.
Democrats don't push mail-in ballots because they care about your health. They don't. Anytime you see Democrats pushing mail-in ballots, a little ringer in your head should be going off like red flag, red flag, red flag, because that's what happened in in the election here in my home district, Florida's 23rd. Like, Democrats, but like, everybody gonna mail in, everybody gonna mail in, everybody gonna mail in. Suddenly, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, one of the most hated politicians in America and in the state of Florida, suddenly she gets more votes than she did in 2016 and 2018 almost combined.
Will Ibid the chat real quick back to the just to circle back to the public comment port says, "Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you," can be said in less than a minute.
Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you. Yeah, I could do that. I could.
You saw that, right?
I did.
Wish
That
I had
was
that
awesome.
photo. That was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
I love that. Inject that energy. I love that shit, bro.
Hell
Man.
yeah. Hell yeah. Oh, while we're talking about, at least what I would call activism, August 21st and August 20th and 21st, I will be in Denver, Colorado for some Assange events along with Misty Winston, good friend, comrade Mindy, Charlie Robinson from Macroaggressions, and John 5 from the Flowbots, hopefully a handful of other folks from the MCSC network. As always, our good friend Kendra will be putting that event on. She'll be, I'm sure, speaking, and I think there's some other people that she's trying to pull in. That is going to be a really good time. Friday the 20th. I'm good at this. Friday the 20th. We're going to be at 10 a.m. in Cherry Creek and do a vehicle caravan to different media outlets. Just like a strip sort of on two sides of divided road that like deep, like huge. There's a lot in the way, like a fucking park almost. It's weird. Anyway, number of media outlets that are all in the same area. So we're gonna go raise hell in front of them. The following day on the 21st, we'll be in Greek Park. We're going to recreate the Anything to Say sculpture and see what happens when you throw a public event, Anything to Say style, and see what comes out of it in terms of public comment. It's gonna be a really good time. Do hope to see you out there if you're anywhere near Colorado, August 20th and 21st. Please come out and see us. And the Denver Free Assange Twitter account will have constant updates about that. So will we. Get out there. It'll be fun. This shit's a good time. It is. And Mindy has a cape. She got a cape. It is a cape. At this point, we should probably do the rest of the show off YouTube.
Sorry, guys. But
So
it's RedTube, so we're gonna rock it.
Link to I just to let you know like what we'll be talking about. So the extension on the eviction moratorium, despite publicity stunts from members of Congress, does not come from Congress. Turns out the CDC gets to determine whether or not the moratorium continues. There's a lot of questions about that. It doesn't make any fucking sense. So we're going to discuss that. We're going to talk about some upcoming papers, please, laws. We've got a lot to discuss in terms of the White House's relationship with an influencer army, which is something that we've talked about a lot of times. But I mean, there's a direct link to the Biden White House now, where all level of social media and online influencers are being paid to continue the narrative about a particular experiment Yeah, we love you guys here on the YouTube, and we're gonna continue to do stuff like this for as long as we possibly can. But you should definitely be hanging out with us over on the Rockfin or on Odyssey, anywhere but YouTube. Anywhere but YouTube. Like, we need the people who populate the platform to find all of us who have shows on other better free speech friendly fucking platforms that don't have a direct relationship with the federal government, that don't fucking give you arbitrary strikes that they call medical misinformation because you rolled a clip of a government official talking under oath. So we will see you over on Rockfin, and
I'll knock it out.
okay, thank you. I actually like watching the YouTube live numbers drop.